to the special edition of Trenton 29 Action News. EMPA candidates of the Trenton 29 cohort have focused on human resource management and the vital role performance appraisals play in the public sector workplace. What they have uncovered may surprise you. Stay tuned for up-to-date coverage on this exciting and challenging topic. Good morning, and thank you for joining me this Saturday morning, and welcome to the special edition of Trenton 29 Action News. I am Marita Scarata, and I will be your host for this special report on improving organizational productivity through the appropriate use of human resources management tools to address employee performance. Employees are an organization's most valuable asset. Recent academic literature centers on the issue of achieving and maintaining employee performance. In 2012, Nigro and Nigro argued, a key to improving productivity and quality services in the public sector is accurately measuring and controlling the performance of each worker. Today, we look at what and how performance is appraised, what the organization and specifically managers can do to improve individual performance through motivation and incentives. I am joined by an eminent team of human resource management specialists. Each reporter is a candidate in Rutgers University's School for Public Administration and Analysis Executive Masters in Public Administration program and brings their own particular expertise to this discussion. Their research and interviews provide a rich overview of the elements critical to acknowledging, developing, and evaluating the individual contributions by each employee. First, Umar Butt will provide insight into why employee evaluations are so important in today's public organizations, and how looking at tasks, performance, and ability shape an appraisal structure. Angie Baker joins us to talk about the criteria and standards that define performance evaluations, the role of supervisors, motivation and consequences of meeting or not meeting requirements and expectations. Returning to Trenton 29 is Christina Zazzaro, who discusses the vital issue of communication. From his favorite coffee shop, Nessie Iman reports on why training for supervisors is an essential component to promote fair and objective evaluations. Shelley Massey shares interesting background material on pay for performance in the public sector. She discusses what works and the impediments to PFP in public organizations. Standing on the steps of the State House, Tia Johnson shares survey and contemporary research on the current state of public employee morale and how vital supervisors and managers are in influencing workplace morale. What happens when employees don't or won't produce? Donna Britt provides fascinating information on what managers and supervisors must contemplate and do when faced with poor employee performance. Reporting live from the streets of Trenton, New Jersey's capital city, let's go to Umar Butt. Umar, what can you tell us about why performance evaluations are so necessary?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Umar Butt. My presentation is about why employee needs evaluation at the workforce. There are many reasons employee need evaluation. I will discuss some of them in this presentation. Employee evaluation is crucial for individual and organization development. The time frame of employee evaluation is different for different agencies. Some agency has quarterly evaluation and some have every 6 months. In federal government, it comes every 3 months. But the basic concept is same, which is to increase the employee productivity for agency growth and also help employee grow inside the agency. The phenomena is simple. If employee grow, the organization will automatically grow. Evaluation give an employee an opportunity to discuss and overview his or her strengths and weaknesses with the manager. That help employee set up a new plan, goals, and target for coming up evaluation. This is the perfect time when employee can discuss that if plans set up for him is feasible or not to achieve within the time frame. Employee can also discuss if they need any special accommodation to meet his goals. Manager mission is to get the maximum productivity for the employee. In order to achieve his goal, he creates a guided path for the employee that eventually creates a healthy relationship between employee and the manager, which enable employee to achieve his or her target. Through evaluation, employee get to know the agency expectation from him or her. He also get to find out that what tools and resources available for him by the agency that will help him achieve high performance. Evaluation also provides employee a good opportunity of obstacle-free environment in which he will perform the job up to his maximum potential. Now, next evaluation is nothing more than a review of the goals and achievement that give an idea where the employee is standing. If he meet the expectation of the agency or not. Those results basically help manager to make a decision for employee and the agency future. With all this information, I will pass it on to my co-host Angie. Angie, you can take it from here.
Thank you, Umar. In this segment, you'll be hearing from me, Angie Baker, where we'll be discussing the criteria and standards according to Norma M. Rakucci, and I'll be giving you public managers a few of Channel 29's core areas to focus on. Now, the first thing you need to know is that the purpose of performance appraisal is to serve as an instrument by which management is able to guide the distinct behaviors within the organization into industrious conduits. Then, you'll use these conclusions as a foundation for various administrative decisions. They could be used for areas such as promotions to trainings, adversarial actions, as well as even pay. This can all be accomplished through some of these very fundamental recommendations that I'm going to give you right now. Okay, so first and foremost, it is imperative that public organizations have a meticulously crafted system for evaluating each employee's individual performance. You want to know that performance must be assessed using specific and proper criteria that was thoughtfully prepared. And whenever possible, you want to focus on tangible work product. Now, in those cases where the work is totally intangible, you should then consider the employee's work behavior. What you want to avoid, though, is trait-based systems. Next, create crystal clear standards that identify the different criterion that classifies what is superior performance and what is considered inferior performance. 4. It is super important that supervisors evade common mistakes by being well trained in the implementation of the process of performance appraisal. Always remember 2 very key points. Supervisors should be allotted appropriate time to conduct evaluations on the performance of subordinate employees, and the employees and supervisors should engage each other in a conversation about the evaluation's findings. Now, due to their challenging nature, endeavors to tie individual performance appraisal results to pay should be advanced very carefully. 6. Try to always use job enrichment strategies as incentives for superior performance. Use intrinsic enticements such as recognition, responsibility, and opportunities for advancement and achievement. And please note that extrinsic encouragements must always be offered at levels that avoid employee dissatisfaction. 7. Ensure that management convey all job requirements and expectations to employees in well-defined and constant manners. Now, in this area, managers have 2 major responsibilities. 1, to certify that instructions are not only understood by your employees, but they are also accepted as well. And 2, to make certain that employees have both the ability and the opportunity to perform. And finally, continual subpar performance should generate an advancing disciplinary process that ultimately results in the employee being terminated from the organization. Now, stay tuned to Channel 29 for some exclusive Communication Vitals coming up with Christina Zozero.
Thank you, Angie. Hi, I'm Trenton Action News correspondent Christina Zozero, and I've been here at 20 West State Street talking to a number of state employees and managers from various departments, and what I've concluded is that effective communication is vital for organizational success. Ineffective communication can be frustrating for both employees and supervisors and can unintentionally lead to poor performance and high employee turnover. If employees lack the information they need to do their job well, or they don't fully understand what is required of them or what their manager's expectations are, not only will they be unable to meet their supervisor's demands, they won't understand why, what their real faults are, or how to improve them, which can be frustrating, cause tension and conflict, and eventually may lead to a good employee leaving the organization. In order to improve or enhance employees' effectiveness at work, it is important for managers to communicate the job requirements and expectations clearly and consistently, and make sure the employee understands their obligations and is willing and able to meet them. This is something Angie had also mentioned when she was discussing the importance of setting standards. But all the responsibility can't just be placed on the manager. Communication works both ways. So if employees fail to communicate their needs or inability to meet certain agency standards, whether it's because they don't have access to the right resources, or perhaps because they're not properly trained to perform a certain task, then their supervisors cannot fully understand what is impeding their performance or how to help them. If a manager is unaware of the underlying issues, he or she will assume the employee is lazy or unfit for the task at hand, potentially leading the employee to be reassigned to menial duties beneath their true skill set and hindering their career growth, which can also cause tension and conflict and lead to the employee leaving the organization. So although it is management's responsibility to ensure that employees have the ability to perform and are given the opportunity to perform, it is also the employee's responsibility to honestly communicate with their managers. Performance appraisal reviews are important because they promote regular communication between employees and supervisors. They provide employees who would have otherwise remained silent an opportunity to sit down with management and share their ideas and concerns. And if management truly takes the time to listen, they can gain insight that can increase efficiency and productivity around the office, or prevent a minor issue from escalating into a major problem. In addition, when employees and supervisors are able to speak openly about job performance and the issues that may be affecting it, it encourages positive and proactive communication around the office and can create a more cooperative and collaborative office culture. Because it's not just important for employees and supervisors to understand each other and share ideas, but it's also important for employees to be able to speak openly with one another and work together to meet agency goals. When an organization is able to communicate in a positive, open, and effective way, it helps build a sense of trust, loyalty, and personal ownership in the agency's success. So after talking with so many wonderful people today, I truly believe that when everyone has the same goal, which is to see their organization succeed, and everyone is working together towards that same goal, then not only will the organization grow and prosper, but every employee will too. but it all starts with effective communication. Unfortunately, not everyone is born a great manager or communicator, but these skills, along with learning how to properly assess your staff's performance, can be developed with the right training. Here to talk more about training is Trenton Action News correspondent Nessie.
Thank you, Christina. My presentation will focus on the importance of training supervisors and how it is related to the application of appraisal policies. Training supervisors to evaluate employee performance constitutes an important element of a supervisor's professional development. Evaluating job performance refers to assessing how well an employee does a job and comparing it to how well the organization expects an employee to do that job. Conducting the performance appraisal refers to sharing those ratings and evaluation with employees so they can be proud of the work they perform or receive guidance on how to perform their jobs better. Knowing how to evaluate employees and then communicate those evaluation ratings during performance appraisal meetings is the type of training all supervisors needed, especially when employees' job performance can play such a vital role in the success of a small organization or an agency. One of the biggest challenges newly hired and recently promoted supervisors face is responsibility for rating employees who previously were their friends, their classmates, or their co-workers. Transitioning from co-worker to supervisor is difficult when the new supervisor may have been lunching with a friend the week before and is now responsible for evaluating that friend's job performance. The relationship can easily become strained. A worst-case scenario involves employee rebellion, which could leave the new supervisor feeling helpless and ineffective. Employers train supervisors on appraisal methods and on ways to manage the relationship factors in evaluating employees with whom they may have had close friendship and relationship. Leadership training provides new supervisors with tools. They need to assert themselves as a department or section leaders whose skill set and qualifications exceed those of their employees. The decision to promote someone into a supervisory role isn't always based on the employee's functional expertise. Decisions to promote or hire leaders are based in part on a candidate's team-building skills, his ability to influence and motivate employees, and the confidence he exhibits to delegate responsibility, accountability without feeling threatened by employee success. Agencies and organizations develop performance management systems to evaluate their employees' job performance. They rely on supervisors to conduct performance appraisals at least annually. Supervisors with little or no experience usually do not know how to prepare or how to evaluate performance appraisal. Objectively evaluate job performance and lead an appraisal meeting for what could possibly be an uncomfortable interaction with employees. A training program that works and provides enough information to supervisors through each step of an organization performance management system helps and provides or builds supervisor confidence in carrying out evaluation and appraisal. In fact, training supervisors on performance appraisal methods starts with the organization philosophy on employee performance, organization or agency standards, and leadership techniques and mechanisms. The next important thing about training is Training generally includes the mechanics and the techniques of a performance appraisal, how it works, from actually rating performance and duties to understanding how employee compensation is tied to performance. Supervisors learn how to review employees' reports and past performance to prepare their annual appraisal. They also learn how to keep supervisor bias checked, so there won't be complaints that they are judging employees based on personal feelings instead of organizational and agency guideline and procedure. In the meantime, providing training to the supervisor, it will help and improve the halo effect, such as the first impression error, the similar to me effect, and the comparison and contrast effect, and the central tendency error. Providing all of the necessary tools, the entire package, to the supervisor will establish or improve their capacity as well as their confidence level, how they are going to provide a better service, effective and efficient appraisal process service to their fellow employees without any bias, without any impression, without any type of judgmental that related to gender, race, socioeconomic background, political affiliation, apprenticeship. So, training the supervisor, it is really crucial. Any agency and organization, before they start assigning supervisors to evaluate any individuals or any employee of one particular agency or organization, it is really crucial the agency to focus on how to train, how to equip the supervisor before they start their job duty and job responsibilities.
Hello, Trenton Action News 29. This is Shelley Massey, and I'm here today to discuss pay for performance. Despite popularity of pay for performance in the public sector by the 1980s and early 1990s, pay for performance systems, in particular, merit pay plans, could be problematic. Pay for performance is a hallmark of civil service reform, too. Individual merit pay is the dominant approach, but bonuses and group incentives are also used in some states. More than half of the personnel managers responding to the study expressed confidence that their PFP systems had clarified organizational expectations and performance standards. Likewise, more than half believed that pay for performance had clarified the relationships between performance and monetary reward. Political appointees, in comparison with career civil servants, view pay for performance more favorably. This finding more than likely reflects the symbolic value of pay for performance in the partisan political arena. Personnel managers with private sector backgrounds tend to be more skeptic about pay for performance benefits than were those with only public sector experience. Although there is a general assumption that pay for performance is widely successful in the business world, it has not been, without problems. Regarding anticipated benefits, discouraging reports about pay for performance on the state level were that having a merit plan, 1, did not greatly improve recruitment success or turnover rates, 2, did not significantly reduce labor costs, and 3, did not appear to increase political executives' control over career bureaucrats. Negative features of pay for performance that might be anticipated from previous research on merit pay plans in the federal government and elsewhere did in fact surface on the state level. In all probability, therefore, the public sector will continue to experience with a variety of approaches to pay for performance in government. More emphasis may be placed on a mix of individual and group performance measures and rewards. Finally, monetary incentives under the pay for performance plan include using a one-time bonus or variable pay, permanent increase to base salary, group-based bonuses or gain sharing, bonuses and base pay increases. Now I'll turn this over to my colleague.
Reporting live from the State House. Today's good news is that countless employees from the public sector report they find themselves dragging into work every day. After engaging in numerous conversations with public sector employees, it became prevalent that employee morale was at an all-time low. Did you know that 84% of public sector employees within this area of practice are unhappy? I think it's safe to say significant changes are needed. Employee morale is a description of emotions, attitude, satisfaction, and overall outlook of employees during their time in a workplace environment. Part of effective productivity is thought to be directly related to the morale of employees. Employees that are happy and positive at work are said to have positive or high employee morale. Organizations that maintain employees who are dissatisfied and negative about their work environment are said to have negative or low energy morale. In the article, Civil Service Morale, You Dread Going into Work in the Mornings, surveys published by the union reflect 65% of civil service workers are stressed at work and, as a result, have become sick over the matter. Almost 3/4 said that their workload has increased, while 6% said they work more than 48 hours a week. To add, 60% did not believe their employer assists with problem-solving strategies to decrease their level of stress. Norma Ricucci notes, superior performance should be incentivized primarily through job enrichment strategies that enhance intrinsic incentives associated with responsibility, recognition, and opportunity for achievement and advancement. Extrinsic incentives must be provided at levels that prevent employee dissatisfaction. According to the article, employees could leave public sector as morale hits all-time low. Researchers say senior management and frontline employees have lost their sense of pride and are in the position to leave the public sector. Research shows approximately 72% of public employees are not proud of their work. Approximately 70% of public employees said their morale is at an all-time low. Also, according to research, out of 1,000 public employees, 43% want to leave their current place of employment, and 78% are planning their next move within the next 3 years. Almost a third of senior management want to leave their organization within a year, and approximately 43% of employees plan to leave the public sector altogether. As stated earlier, approximately 84% are experiencing an all-time low in morale. Establishing incentives that are beneficial to the organization and that will influence employee morale in an effective and efficient manner is crucial, but can be a very difficult challenge. Here are some employee incentives. 1. Recognize individual employees. As a manager, tell your staff that they are doing a great job and their hard work and dedication is truly appreciated. Next, show employees the results of their hard work. Remind employees that their work is meaningful, innovative, and beneficial to the organization. Or give them responsibility. Meet with employees to discuss their job. Ask what helps get the job done and what are possible barriers. It is important to include employees in the process to eliminate organizational challenges. Next, treat them as people. Give employees a listening ear. Learn their name and send kind gestures. Essentially, let your staff know that you and the organization cares. 5. Make sure the organization's top management is available to listen and engage with their employees. Again, being an active listener, asking questions, and collaborating with employees lets them know their opinion is valued. Next, offer trainings. The training process allows employees to become familiar with changes within their area of practice. It also helps employees to feel confident and perform expected job duties in accordance to organizational mandates and codes of conduct. 7. Give small perks. Allow employees the opportunity to work from home. This incentive does not cost an organization any money, but can truly be valued amongst employees. Also, provide flexible work hours. Some employees may have children, therefore implementing flexible work hours to balance work and home schedules is important. Next, be transparent and keep staff in the loop at all times. Here, communication is key. Employees that are direct players with citizens and members of the industry need to be aware of any organizational changes, processes, or changes with mandates. 9. Make the office fun. Have small appreciation celebrations. And finally, ask employees what motivates them. If possible, permit employees to earn extra money by working overtime or earning comp time. As employee morale reaches an all-time low in the public sector, it is imperative that Human Resource Management and Public Personnel Administration institute inducement contribution transactions, which is described as an ongoing exchange of values between all organizations and their members. Stay tuned to Trenton Cohort 29 News for more updates on employee morale in the public sector. This is Tia Johnson reporting live.
Good morning, Trenton. This is Trenton Action News 29, and I'm Donna Britt reporting from the field on a special segment I've prepared as part of our ongoing series regarding human resources in the public sector. You've heard a great deal today from my colleagues about performance evaluations and how they can be used to measure performance for purposes of promotion, pay increases, and even as a way to improve employee productivity. Almost everyone you talk to in the public sector has an opinion about performance evaluations. Some good, some not so good. But did you know that there's a particular area where performance evaluations can come in pretty handy? Performance evaluations can be an extremely useful tool when it's time to rid the organization of a poor-performing employee. You know, the one that never performs up to standard, and no matter how many times or how many ways you've tried to get the message across that he or she must do better, nothing has changed. Well, we've all heard the rumors of how impossible it is to fire a public employee. And one of the reasons those rumors continue to prevail is because administrators would rather let the poor performer linger on than initiate or follow through with the procedure of terminating the employee. The Civil Services Reform Act of 1978 brought about the creation of the Merit Systems Protection Board, which served as sort of a watchdog of the merit systems. This board also oversees any appeals that are filed by civil servants that have been fired. The Merit Systems Protection Board reported that almost 12,000 federal employees were fired in 2009, so clearly poor performers can be fired. It's just more difficult and time-consuming than it is to fire an employee in the private sector. You see, unlike private sector employees, public employees are afforded certain procedural protections before they can be terminated. According to the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, the government is prohibited from harming an employee's property interest in their income without minimum due process of law. Let's face it, no one wants to get hit with a wrongful termination suit. But if you follow the proper procedures, there is a way to lower your risk of exposure to a lawsuit or a reversal of the termination on appeal. The procedures for terminating a poor-performing employee can be found in Chapter 43 of the Civil Service Reform Act. According to Norma Rakucci, repeated performance should trigger a progressive disciplinary process. This is where the performance evaluation becomes a useful tool in that process. You must document the poor performance, and the best way to document it is in the written performance evaluation. In the federal government, you must also issue a warning notice specifying the critical areas in which the employee's performance is lacking. The employee must then go through a 90-day performance improvement plan. If the supervisor does not see any improvement with the employee's performance, then they are allowed to issue a written notice of proposed removal. Again, this notice must specify the particular areas in which the employee failed to perform up to standard. Upon receipt of this notice, the employee has the opportunity to dispute the allegations of poor performance. If the employee fails to prove his or her case, the agency may terminate the employee's 30 days after the date of the notice of proposed removal. If you follow these steps, you may be able to rid the organization of the poor performing employee once and for all. Sending it back to you in the studio, Marita.
Thanks, team, for a thorough and informative report. The Civil Rights Reform Act of 1978 was the impetus for change in modern employee performance measurement. Scientific management measures helped design and shape performance appraisals in keeping with the American norms of individualism and egalitarianism. Technical, managerial, and organizational factors can easily influence or impact a fair and equitable evaluation of performance, so regular reassessment by human resource managers is advised. Management by objective, MBO, concepts incorporating organizational goals and plans into performance appraisals will assist in providing reliable foundations for evaluations of public sector employees. It must be remembered how important to an organization's appraisal process is the buy-in and employee confidence concerning the accuracy and fairness of the evaluations. Critical to this is the acceptance by supervisors and raters. Rater acceptance is high when raters understand the rationale justifying the system and its goals, are confident in their ability to effectively administer the system, the perceived benefits exceed the costs, and appraisal systems do not conflict with other personnel systems. Training does matter and communication is germane. Performance appraisal can and should influence a public organization at the meso level, as indicators of training, promotions, adverse actions, and, in some circumstances, pay. We hope this special report provides better insight and guidance to our viewers about the importance of evaluations, the importance of documenting both good and underperformance, as well as some key factors that may incentivize employees and raise morale, and additionally, some food for thought about pay for performance in the public sector. Most of this special edition revolves around the traditional approach. Listeners who are curious about individual ratings and the total quality management TQM approach should tune in next week to our segment. This is Marita Scarata at the anchor desk for Trenton 29. Thank you and have a great weekend.